All right, Clark, welcome to the Everyday Fitness with Coach Mark podcast.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, brother. I'm ready to go. You got me captive audience here, man. So I'm 100% yours, my brother.
Awesome, cool. In the intro, the listeners heard a little bit about you, but I really want to dive in. Who is Clark? And just tell us a little bit about your story.
So who is Clark? That's a great question to start with. Clark's a man who loves people. Clark's a man who loves helping people and using my many, many years of experience in the fitness industry and abroad to enrich people's lives. And that's something that I honestly, it's not even a belief as much as I know that it's what I was created to do. I was put on this earth to do what I do. And I love every opportunity I have, like this right now. This is a privilege and a pleasure for me to be on your podcast because I realize that you're going to help me reach people that I never would have been able to get in front of without you asking me to be on here. So this to me is something that I think most people don't understand how much I appreciate the opportunity because it really is a chance not to get famous, but to spread the message that both you and I are out here trying to spread.
Absolutely. And I think we have so much in common. I've been in the fitness industry for 17 years. I've never done anything else. That's the only profession that I've always been in. And share a little bit about your beginnings. How did you get started with fitness? Was it really, were you an athlete maybe before? Tell us a little bit about the early beginnings.
Yeah, so probably much like yourself and other people who you interview with fitness, there's a background, an athletic background. So I grew up playing sports, football, and went to the Marine Corps. And then in the Marine Corps, my goal for going there was to have the hardest physical challenge I could find. And I thought the Marine Corps would be it for me. It was either that or the Navy SEALs. So I went the Marine Corps route. And then while I was in the Marines, I played rugby. So it's always been a part of my DNA, who I am. I just like competition. I like playing. Matter of fact, yesterday I was running around playing football with a bunch of my son's friends. So from there, it evolved into where I'm at today. So it went to competing in bodybuilding contests, to realizing that I had what it took to be in the magazines, started doing that. And then from that, I had an opportunity to get on TV, and I did that for a long time on Kiana's Flex Appeal. Then I had my own show. Then that branched out into movies and Home Shopping Network and QVC, having my own product lines. And here we are today at the age of 57. And I will say this, I am just now hitting my stride. I am right now getting ready to launch to another level. So I want people to understand that. Anyone that's listening right now that is young and ambitious and excited to get somewhere, trust me, it gets better as you go through life. Stay in shape, stay passionate about what you do, and always have other people in mind. I think if you do this without yourself being the center of attention and other people really benefiting from your experience, that's when you're given more opportunities to go to new levels.
Sounds really good. And I saw in one of your posts on Instagram that and you talked about age, right? And I had even the age topic in one of my episodes, and I believe it can be just a number, especially when you take care of yourself. So listeners always want to hear that. What do you do on a regular basis during the week on workouts, nutrition, and maybe supplements, maybe sleep? What is your regimen?
So I coach men my age. I coach men over the age of 50, and I have them all around the world. And the group is growing super fast right now. And I teach them 5 lifestyle principles that have become the groundwork and the basis and the cornerstone for how I live my life. And they are as follows: mindset, meals, movement, community, and supplementation, in that order. For years, I wondered, like, how important was nutrition? So I would say, okay, it's 50%. Then I went to 60 and 70 and 80. Then I got to 100. And then I started putting them in order for me, the order of importance. So you could tell someone how to eat, and your meal plan might be the greatest in the world. But if their mindset is not ready to adopt that consistently, then it's no good. It's of no value. You wasted your time, and they're wasting theirs and their money. So that's why I put mindset first. So my day looks like I wake up in the morning, and honestly, before I even get out of bed, I start giving thanks for my life, for these two arms, for the ability to communicate, for my wife, for my dogs, for the breeze. As simple as that might seem, it's such an important foundational, actionable item that we as humans should take, because if we don't, then the opposite happens by default. We
Got
get
it.
up, we start complaining, we don't see any value in the day, we hate our job, we hate our car, we hate our hair, we hate our wife, we hate our life. And it's like, I don't get that. So I created a mission and purpose statement for my life many, many years ago, which is, my life statement is to positively and powerfully affect everyone I come into contact with. So I say that when I put my feet on the ground. Today, I will positively and powerfully affect everyone I come into contact with. Then from there, I get up and I do my journaling. If I do it on that day, my mindset stuff, I don't get on the phone and the TV and all that. Then, I'll eat, I'll drink my water, I'll have my coffee, I'll have my breakfast, train a client, go off to the gym myself or train at my house with some friends, come back, return some emails. But all the while, I'm trying to ground myself in the reality that today's the only day I have to live. And I need to get the most out of today as I can. Because here's another truth. I mean, I'm at the age now where I'm having friends starting to pass away for no apparent reason. But there is an apparent reason if we really look at their life on a deeper level. And I think a lot of it can be fixed through these 5 lifestyle principles.
Can
If people
we
would just,
Yeah, can we stay at the mindset for a moment? Because I
yeah,
think it's so important, especially gratitude, the energy that you're giving out every day. What was it like for you? Because you said 57, you've done this for a while. When do you really started that, and what was the reason really? Was there a change? Was there something that triggered it? Yeah, what
yeah.
was it?
I think we all have my friend referred to them as life cycle phases, right? We all have multiple life cycle phases. When we're a teenager, that's a life cycle phase. When we go through puberty, when we get our driver's license, when we're 18, when we're 21, when we're 30, when we get married, when we have a kid, when our kid moves away, all of these are different life cycle phases. And I think the one that gets the most attention is the midlife crisis. People give that too much credit. Every single part of our life, there's an opportunity to grow,
Sure.
not go back. So the moment that is very specific to me was, I was on an airplane. I was coming back from Home Shopping Network, where I just made a lot of money. I had a win. I was selling an abdominal product that I had called Clark Bartram's 3D Abs. So everything seemed like there would be no reason to have a panic attack on an airplane at 35,000 feet. Well, you know what happened. I had an airplane or a panic attack on an airplane at 35,000 feet. If you've never experienced that, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, because it is a horrifying moment. So that was a long, horrible day, and a lot of long, horrible days followed that.
Hmm.
So my mindset was, here is an opportunity for me to learn more about our mind and the power of it. Because if my mind is that capable through a life cycle phase, like my kids were starting to grow up, that was part of the anxiousness that I was feeling that set this thing off, now that I look at it in hindsight. So I didn't want to get on drugs. I didn't want to take any kind of medication to mask what I was going through. I wanted to dig in and learn why and what and how and what the lesson was for me in all of that. So I started to watch YouTube videos, go to counseling, listen to people, and learn as much as I could, read books, buy courses. And I just poured my mind full of all of these things that you probably have learned throughout your life as well. And then one day I was sitting on my couch and I was watching this lady preacher on TV, and she said, "Where the mind goes, the man follows." And in my spirit, I heard, "That's the title of your book." And I'm like, "Book? I'm not writing a book." And it was like I was talking to God. And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm not writing a book." "Yeah, that's the title of your book. And this is the truth." I got up at that moment. I walked probably 15 feet to where my desk was and my computer sat, and I began to write.
Wow.
And all of what I've learned through that time that I was studying on what was happening to me and how I could overcome it or learn from it started pouring out, started pouring out. And that was the genesis. That was the birth of me really understanding there's something here.
Wow.
And this needs to be a part of what I teach people who come to learn about fitness from me, because there's no way to separate the two. I will not take a client. Like if you came to me today, Mark, and said, hey, I want you to put me on a diet and I want you to teach me how to get abs. We would have a discussion on the phone. I would get into all of this and you would either say, I'm not into that. And I would say, okay, I don't want your money, because I can't separate that from how I coach. Yeah. I just can't.
It's so true. I mean, it's a foundation, right? I mean, the mind and the movement, and if one is not there, what's really the point? So we were in the 5 principles. You said it's mindset, it's movement. Go ahead with the movement part in general.
Yeah, so mindset, meals, movement, community, supplementation. So with the movement aspect, as a 57-year-old man, I need to modify the way I moved. Matter of fact, just yesterday when I was playing football, I looked at my son. And this was an interesting moment between the two of us, because I've literally thrown hundreds of thousands of passes to my son with a football, because he was a quarterback and a really good one. And he played in college with a full scholarship. So we've invested a ton of time throwing the football and on the football field. And I would run around with all of these kids his age and play and be really good at it. But there's one thing about me that I never needed to warm up my entire life. I could never have to warm up. And yesterday I was out there playing with him and I looked at my son and I said, you know what, Mitch, I think I finally need to warm up. And he just laughed at me and he said, about time, you know? So with respect to the aging process and exercise movement specifically, I have learned that I can't do things the way I used to do them. And that might be an obvious statement to some, but it isn't, right? Because we have a mindset. You talk about a mindset, there's a different way to apply that. Like my mindset is I'm a 25-year-old guy and I can compete with 25-year-old guys. But the reality then is, well, maybe not. My knees hurt, my back's tight. I should warm up, or I could pull an Achilles or something stupid. You know, you have to be smarter as you train. And we know from science that there are ways that men can train specifically to really increase their hormonal function as it relates to T levels and growth hormone and all of those regulatory things that happen in our body naturally, but maybe tend to have a tendency to drop off as we age. So that's the movement thing.
And how many times in the week do you train yourself? Not saying with clients, just you.
I'll go 5-6 days a week, sometimes 7, depending, and sometimes I'll go 2.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very instinctive. Something that I like about me is the fact that I know my body so well. And I have a feeling you're going to be able to really get what I'm saying, and some won't, and it's okay. I could tell my bicep to pump blood in this vein right here, and I could watch it physically put blood in that vein right there. It's happening right now. Like,
yeah.
I have that much of an ability to connect my mind and my muscle together. So with respect to how I train, I don't lift heavy. I don't lift heavy. I could take a weight that some might look at and go, that's too light, and turn it into something, a 45-pound dumbbell into a 90-pound dumbbell. Mm-hmm. Through the techniques that I've learned and the ability to keep my mind and muscle and time under tension and really just knowing like how to put it there, like
engage,
you know, just yeah.
And that again shows the mind and movement connection, right? I mean, we just talked about it. I've seen it over the last 17 years. When you have a client, they train months and months, and there's other ones that train a couple of weeks, and they have these crazy results because they have the connection, an intramuscular connection, good coordination, right? And that's another thing that is so undervalued. You know, you can do 1,000 workouts and not look like it, and then a couple do like 5 workouts and they look like crazy already. So I
I
think,
love to see it in a client. Like when I ask them to do something, and you know it too, like you see these subtle little things, you're like, he gets it. He gets it. And I walk away like, yeah, and they're
exactly.
like, what are you so excited about? I'm like, I saw that you understood and applied what I was trying to teach you. And sometimes it's so simple, but when you understand yourself so well, I think you can see it in other people easier too.
Yeah. I just had Funk Roberts on my podcast too, and I saw that you were on his podcast too, and you guys are so similar, right? Not just I don't care about the age, but like what you guys say and teach. I don't know if you want to say something about
I'm the white Funk Roberts. He's the black Clark Bartram.
that.
That's how we refer to each other.
That's so funny. So we were talking about movement, meals in general, super important, obviously, too. Second step, tell us a little bit about that.
So meals, I was just at Michael Hearn's house. You talk about somebody who is so focused in on the way they eat. I've known that guy for 30 years. This is not an exaggeration. I've never seen him miss a meal. I've never seen him not eat a meal that was specific to the stage in his training that he was at, that was required to get him where he knew he wanted to go.
Wow.
So I've learned so much about the importance of nutrition and the aspect of consistency with nutrition. And it's not as hard as we make it out to be. The problem that we have as humans is most people do things that aren't sustainable and don't make sense for them. So if Mike does a 30-day blitz and he does something that's not sustainable, he knows it's not. He's doing it for a reason. But we have people who just believe everything they see or read on the internet, and suddenly they adopt this lifestyle of, I'm not going to eat carbohydrates because they're bad. Well, me, you, and Funk, and Mike, and all of us know that that's not the truth. So they go on these no carbohydrate diets and they lose a few pounds, but they gain more back because it's not a sustainable way of living.
Exactly.
So I tell people, look, if you're going to do something, make sure it's something that is sustainable and be prepared to have it take a little bit longer on the front end, but it will last longer on the back end. We're too anxious.
Yeah. And most of them, they don't commit to that lifestyle, right? I mean, as you said, when you get a client, you want a client that commits to the lifestyle that is needed, that is sustainable, and with consistent efforts, you get somewhere. And it takes a while. It's not something that is overnight, right? They need to be patient too, which most of them, they want to have like a six-pack in 15 days, right? Which is not possible for most of them. And the lifestyle, I believe, is what most of them are not committed to. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. What I tell people a lot is, look, man, if you want instant results, or if all you're interested in is getting abs, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
I turn away so many people because I like to vet people out. I'm not in this for a quick money grab at all.
Yeah.
I coach guys for free. I literally have a free coaching program, and people don't believe it. And they're waiting for some sales pitch. But I want people who are ready to make a commitment. And I found that guys my age have already done all the BS, and they're ready to listen to what actually works. So once I tell them, look, we're not talking about abs. If you get abs as an ancillary benefit to me teaching you how to eat and exercise and think and all that sort of stuff, then we're going to be better off. So what I then hear is, wow, Clark, this is not as hard as I've made it out to be, because you've taken the stress away from it and you've helped me. I just had this conversation this morning and last night. I have it every day of my life now because there's so many guys in my program. And what they tell me is the same across the board. Thank you for showing me a way to do this that I can stick with. I finally figured it out. I figured it out with your help, that this is not as hard as I've made it out to be, because they're focused on the right things, not the wrong things.
Exactly. I want to go back to the Marine Corps time and have a little bit of a comparison with you right now, because I think the Marine Corps, Navy SEALs, they're special people. I mean, no doubt about it. You know, when we talk about mindset, when we talk about fitness levels, lifestyle, what would you say is the main thing, or let's say that the three main things that got out of the Marine Corps?
Yeah. So discipline would be one of the obvious ones. You know, what's really interesting to me, Mark, is that even now, or especially now, like I said, I'm 57. I've had so many people look at me just randomly out of the blue and go, "Are you a Marine?" or "Were you a Marine?" So they're seeing something in me, which I think is interesting because I like to be an observer of my life. I like to look at things from a different perspective, not in my emotion, but rather like looking at it from a balcony. And when people ask me that question, I'm there watching going, why? What is it that I did or said or presented myself as that caused not just a person, but many people to say, were you a Marine? Not like in the service, but a Marine. So I think it's the discipline, the respect, and the honor in which I try and live my life, right? Like, I like to be an honorable guy. I like to do the things that I say I'm going to do. That's honorable.
Yeah.
I like to treat people with respect. That's honorable. The discipline thing, if you can see my tennis shoes right now, I still tuck my shoelaces into my shoes. That's something they make you do in boot camp.
Okay.
They don't want your shoelaces hanging out because it looks sloppy. You tuck them in.
Got it.
40 years later, I'm still tucking my shoelaces in. I'm still hanging my clothes in my closet the same way.
So, I think so important. I mean, when it comes to discipline and fitness, it's such an important factor, right? I mean, we know it. I mean, sometimes we don't want to work out, or sometimes we don't feel like working out. We still do it, you know. And then there comes to discipline. I want to go to actually supplements. I know it's quite a jump right now. And you said that's kind of the last step of your principles. What are the supplements that you definitely would recommend, and what are the supplements that you wouldn't?
Yeah. So I think every person needs a good foundational. Like I talked about a foundation and a cornerstone and all of that. And I think that a good multivitamin and mineral is important. But I actually work with a company called Persona Nutrition, and they customize vitamin blends for people based upon an assessment. And the reason I took the opportunity, because I get a lot of them presented to me and I don't take them all. Because again, this is not about money for me. This is about honor, right? Like, I don't sell my soul to the highest bidder. I don't. So when I saw this opportunity with this company Persona, I said, okay, they're doing my multivitamins right. So if you talk to anybody who knows human physiology and what happens specifically as it relates to, let's take testosterone, for example. When our T levels start to drop off, if it is age related in any sense, it has something to do with the micronutrients that we're missing in our body. So that gets me thinking, okay, just generally speaking, every human on some level is probably missing some micronutrient that they're not getting in their food for a variety of reasons, whether it's the soil or big agriculture. We could blame it on a lot of different things.
Sure.
Endocrine disruptors are affecting our hormonal system. So why not start there? Like, everybody needs that, because most of us aren't eating the foods. We're eating packaged foods, we're eating processed foods, we're eating frozen foods, we're eating sodium-filled foods, and all of these things that aren't giving us the nutrients that we need. And then the other aspect of that is one size doesn't fit all. I did a commercial for them a while ago where I had a buff guy and a beautiful young girl. I had an old man and a little girl, and they all walked into this vitamin store and they grabbed the same bottle. And I wanted to create this visual representation of one size doesn't fit all. You think this old man, this little girl need the same vitamin? I don't think so. So why would we walk into a big box store or even a retail supplement store, specialty, and buy the same thing, everybody, because of price?
True.
That there's a bigger price to pay. So that would be the first thing. And then the second thing would be, it's really hard to say because not everyone needs glutamine. Not everyone needs creatine. Not everyone needs these designer supplements that I'm not saying are bad or good. It just really comes down to the individual. So I would have to say that a good multivitamin and multimineral is one thing that everyone listening here today or watching could take away and apply to their life, because I think it's something we need to rethink. Because here's another thing. I redo my assessment that I've taken for my supplement blend once a year, because our body changes. Like I have a food allergy that I didn't have before.
Wow.
You know, we change.
Absolutely, I agree. And say it again. What is the brand name?
Persona.
Persona.
It's personanutrition.com. Yeah, it's and the assessment's free. You can go take it. It takes 3 to 5 minutes, and they let you talk to a nutritionist. And you don't get that at a store, right? You don't go there. I mean, you might talk to someone who knows, or you might talk to someone who doesn't know. You don't know.
I mean, just for that, thank you for that. I'm going to check it out right after.
Yeah.
So supplements, multivitamin, is there anything else that you definitely would recommend? Because everybody, like so many listeners, they're probably wondering, okay, I'm working out right now. I need 3 protein shakes a day. I need to do amino acids. I need to do creatinine. All these things, right, that people think they need. Is there anything really, because I remember in sports nutrition in class in university, our professor taught us, I mean, all supplements can be okay, but they help maybe like 2 to 3%, right? Like everything else comes from like nutrition, or should come from nutrition. Like a multivitamin is really important because we don't get all the micronutrients from nutrition, especially now, because the soil, as you mentioned, the nutrients are not as dense anymore, not as good as they were. So that makes absolutely sense. But is there anything else that you would recommend?
Yeah, well, you had mentioned training. So people in training, the first thought would be, okay, I have joint pain. Because part of the reason I realized I needed to warm up yesterday when I was playing football was my knees were hurting.
Yeah.
And it's because I had a hard squat and lunge and leg extension and leg curl session just prior to going and play football. So my knees, you know, your shoulder, your elbow, you have all of these weak points, we'll call them, that take a lot of stress and strain while we're training. So a joint formula would be the next logical thing. But here's the beauty of me being involved with that company. My joint formula is added in to my supplement blend, because you click off the button, do your joints hurt? Yes. Click. Okay. We know this guy is a potential candidate for a joint supplement. Do you sleep well? No. Okay. We know this guy needs some magnesium and possibly melatonin. You know, so you're checking off all these things. So a lot of that can be handled through a proper assessment of your life. Here's what people don't do. They don't do enough digging into their own life, and they trust every freaking thing they hear from an influencer. Like, don't even believe what I say. Go do it for yourself. Exactly. Go take the assessment, because here's the other factor. You are on, a lot of people on a prescription drug. Is there any contraindication with something that you're taking and what you might possibly be ingesting? Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. Well, find out. Exactly. You know, another thing is, when was the last time anyone had a blood test, like, and looked at their blood for all the markers that the blood is the only thing that can show? Yeah. You know, do you have food allergies? That's a big one. You can find that out in your blood. Yeah. Or through your hair, or different means, saliva.
I mean, you're such a wealth of knowledge. I definitely could talk for hours with you. Just to coming to the end of the episode, I really want the listeners to know where to find you. Anything that you want to tell us right now, ending the episode, would be appreciated.
Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't reach out to any man that's watching me right now. And it really doesn't matter what your age is, because my focus is helping men live in their healthiest body. So if someone asks me, hey, Clark, what do you do? My name is Clark Bartram. I help men over 50 live in their healthiest body. That's exactly what I do. And I do it through the 5 lifestyle principles. And you can put it up on your screen here when you edit this. If someone goes to Facebook and just types in Nanotest Performance System, that will pop up. They can join my group for free. Awesome. And I will teach them the 5 lifestyle principles. And, you know, I didn't even mention the fact that I focus on helping men boost their T levels through that. And I have my product right here, Nanotest. It's
awesome.
the world's best natural T booster as far as I'm concerned, because I did the work. I spent the money. It's 100% me. I know what's in that. And I know that. So here's something I tell people about supplements, and this is important for people to understand. A supplement is only as good as the lifestyle that supports it. Okay? So I'm going to repeat that. Any supplement is only as good as the lifestyle that supports it. So if anyone ever takes that product of mine, they are being supported by me with free coaching and a community, because that's one thing we didn't talk about. My 5 lifestyle principles is a community of like-minded people, all headed in the same direction, doing the same thing, to where you can feed off of each other. You know, if we look at great leaders throughout the world, it wasn't huge armies of people. You know, Jesus had 12, right? Exactly. Leonidas had 300. There are small groups of people focused on the same thing, moving in the same direction, feeding off of each other, changes
everything,
cultures and worlds. And man, it's a powerful thing. So this community that I have called the Nanotest Nation is growing. And if any man out there wants to join it, man, hop on in. The link is here, and that's it.
And if you're just listening right now, and if you don't see how he looks, he could have definitely been an actor in the 300. I don't know if you were. Maybe you were in the movie. I don't know. You want to shed some light?
Yeah, I've been in some movies. I've done TV and movies. I actually played Batman in a short film called Batman Dead End that got a lot of acclaim. And I was in a movie called Hunter Prey, where I had the lead feature in it. A couple other little things. Did TV for a lot of years. So I appreciate that. You know what's funny? Yeah. I'm on TikTok, and all these people on TikTok are like, Tom Cruise's dad. I'm like, Tom Cruise is older than me. They're thinking about Tom Cruise and Risky Business or Top Gun. That was years ago. Tom Cruise is older than me, but he looks good. I'm just saying, I'm not Tom Cruise's dad. We're the same age.
So much fun. Thank you so much, Clark, for the episode to come on and to really spread your message. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk in the future again.
My pleasure, brother.
Thank you so much.
All righty.